Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
I'm April.
And in studio with us we have Molly. And Molly, if somebody needed to get a hold of us, what would they need to do?
For math homework help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357. Toll free 1-866-636-6284. Email dothemath@kern.org. We're online at dothemathonline.net. And on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Nicely done. Why don't you let everybody know where you go to school and what grade you're in?
I go to school at Leo B. Hart Elementary School, and I'm in 6th grade.
Now, we've had a couple of students from Hart Elementary on the program lately, and they've been there forever. Mm-hmm. Have you been there forever also?
Yes, I've been there since kindergarten.
All right, you guys are Hart hogs for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Do you know where you'll be going to junior high school next year?
I'm pretty sure I'll be going to Tevis.
Okay, and what is one thing that you're looking forward to when you go to Tevis?
Probably band.
Okay, so are you in band now?
Yes.
And what instrument do you play?
Trumpet.
Oh, excellent. One of our kids played trumpet, and they continued all the way through high school. And continued. How long have you been playing trumpet?
For 2 years now.
Do you see any way in which you can apply math to your trumpet playing?
Well, you have to figure out what tempo or the speed you're playing at, which consists of a rate. So you need to know what rate you're playing at.
Good. Okay, so there is a way. So maybe you can come in sometime and play some trumpet and explain the math to us?
Mm-hmm,
All right,
maybe.
very good. All right. Hey, you know what? We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. Phone numbers are at the bottom of your screen periodically throughout the program, but time now for today's Math in the News. All right, so, I think it's coming on again right there, maybe. That's kind of a weird effect, huh? It's going in and out right there.
Yeah.
All right, so I do believe they'll get that all settled, and there we are. So, a big yellow man washed up on the beach. You think that headline would get some interest?
Yeah.
Indeed. Now, this happened in 2011 in Sarasota County, Florida, but it's not the only time it has happened. All right? So here's a photo of the mystery man before the police showed up. So, have you ever seen anything like this before? Molly, have you ever seen anything or heard about this happening before?
No.
No. I vaguely remember something like this happening once, and I don't remember if it was the one in Florida or someplace else, because these have happened around the world, okay? It happened in the Netherlands also, other parts of the United States, other countries. It's been happening since 2007. And people wanted to know, like, what's going on with this? Why is this happening? Well, here's another photo, right? And we can see that it's a pretty large Lego man, right? And the person taking responsibility for this is an artist who goes by Ego Leonard. So his first name is Ego, E-G-O, and his last name is Leonard. And he's actually put his name on it, so Ego Leonard, you take his first name, last initial, so that's where you're getting the Lego from, if he's creatively doing his name like that, or that is simply his artistic name, we'll say right there. So I saw this and figured, all right, interesting story. These things keep showing up on beaches around the world. So how am I going to show how Legos apply to math? Now, do you have Legos? Have you ever used Legos?
Yes.
They're pretty fun, and there's a lot of things you can build with and make with them. Have you ever been to Legoland?
No.
Nor have I. April, ever been to Legoland?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Is it, I mean, is every single thing made of Legos?
For the most part. Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
it's
a lot of
Legoland,
Legos.
it's going to be a bunch of Legos, right?
Their rides are not.
Okay,
painful,
well, that's good to hear. That.
but there are a lot of sculptures.
All these things are incredibly strong because if you've ever stepped on one, and we were going to talk about that a little later on, but if you've stepped on one, an incredible amount of pain.
Absolutely.
Based on the types of plastic that they are, and especially if you step on the corner of one. But anyway, I've found a way that we can talk about math with Legos. So, right here, if we take an 8-piece, well, not 8, it's one piece, but it's made up of 8 parts, let's say, okay? And we can see that one whole is worth 8. So I figured, all right, how many different ways can we do this to make an 8? So we can do it using halves, right? So I've got 4/8 and 4/8, which would simplify to 1/2 and 1/2. You know how to simplify fractions, right? Mm-hmm. All right, maybe we'll do a little bit of that later on also. And we've also got 1/2 and 1/2, both containing 4 pieces out of the 8, but in a different array. Instead of a 2x2, they're a 1x4. Then we can see, all right, well, we can do it also. Instead of using halves, we can use quarters. So I've got, and the white ones might be a little difficult to see the round parts on top, but we've got 4 quarters with 2 on each, so that we have our total of 8 pieces. And then go from halves to quarters to eighths. So each one of these represents 1/8. So it's a way that students can get introduced to different parts and how they become a whole, and learning fractions where you can go one whole, we can simplify that into halves, into quarters, and into eighths. And that is today's Math in the News. All right, young lady, I know that you're raring to get to work, but before we do that, we're going to go out and see what the transportation is like with KCSOS in math outside of the classroom.
It is time for math in the real world, everyone's favorite part of the show. We bring the math directly to you, what's going on here in the real world. Today, we are going to talk about transportation. So we have asked James McClelland, the Director of Transportation Services here at the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, to join us. James, thanks so much for your time, man.
Sure, you're welcome.
Really appreciate you being here today. Tell us, appreciate you letting us be here today. Where are we? What's going on here?
So we are at the Kern County Superintendent of Schools Transportation Facility off of Union Avenue. And here we transport from our facility to 23 districts in Kern County. Right now we're standing in our vehicle maintenance facility, and as you can see, we have a bus up in the air, and this facility not only services our equipment, but we also service equipment for other districts within the county.
Gotcha. So this is a pretty important place because we see those yellow buses all over town, all over the county.
It's very important. In fact, our vehicle maintenance shop operates from 4:30 in the morning till midnight. Wow. It takes that many hours a day just to get our equipment and other district equipment completed.
I believe it. Wow, there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. My goodness.
So every school bus has to be inspected every 45 days or 3,000 miles. So this is to ensure that our school buses are operating in the most safest manner possible.
Wow, that totally makes sense. In order to ensure safety, you got to have routine maintenance all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, tell me a little bit about your job and what you do specifically.
So as the Director of Transportation, I oversee the entire operation of school busing as well as vehicle maintenance. Now, I do have individuals in place as managers and supervisors, but I actually oversee the entire operation. And part of what we do in transporting the 23 district students is ensuring that our students are getting to and from school daily as safe as we possibly can. And that involves high demand in schedules, as well as ensuring that we are meeting those times and we're doing it safely and with high qualified driving staff.
Can you give me an estimate a little bit about how many buses are in and out of here every day or week or month? I don't know what the easiest is for you, but we'd like to know some numbers because, man, this is a busy place.
It is. Now, we have approximately 50 routes that roll out of here daily, but that's just our facility. There's other districts that also operate their own school buses as well. So just for our facility and assisting the other districts, it's about 50. On average, we travel over 2.2 million miles a year. So our buses are constantly rolling. And in a school year, we have an average of 1,100 field trips that we also do outside of home to school runs.
Now, if I had to guess, there's probably at least a little bit of math involved in that scheduling, because that's a lot of moving parts, right? You're talking about vehicles and people and drivers and where you go. Man, what a fun puzzle.
It is. And we actually have job specifics for route planners, and this is what they do. They plan these routes out. So we are as efficient as we possibly can. We're meeting those schedules, and that's along with our field trip as well, because we have timelines to meet, but we have to do it in the safest manner possible. So there is a lot of time and prep in getting this stuff prepared on a daily basis.
Right. Don't know if you know the answer to this question, but I'm super curious. All those miles, how much fuel do you go through in this place?
I honestly couldn't answer that question, but we do have buses that operate on diesel as well as compressed natural gas, or coined as CNG, some propane buses, and we have some unleaded. So there's a lot of fuel that goes through. I don't have the number for you.
But that's changed over the years. It seemed to me like they always, when I was a kid, the bus left in a big old cloud of smoke, and yeah, it's not quite that way anymore, right?
Not anymore. And in fact, we are moving towards the electric bus industry. And Kern County Superintendent of Schools will be acquiring 3 electric buses coming up within the next year. We've already got our charging ports in, and then we will be putting these buses to the true test.
Things are changing in the transportation industry. We want to know more about how maybe things have changed a little bit in recent times, and all kinds of things to talk about here. Drivers and, but we can't go there yet. We have some more math to do back in the studio. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. And also thank you to James over at KCSOS and the Transportation Department. We'll find out more about what they do in a little bit. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We've got April here this afternoon, and we've got Molly, a 6th grade student from Hart Elementary. Been there for
7 years.
most of your life, huh?
Yeah.
How old are you right now?
11.
11? So yeah, 7 out of 11 years you've been in Hart. That's your home, huh?
Yeah.
Second home, let's say.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to do some work?
Sure.
All right, over to the board, young lady. Here's the problem that you'll be working on today. We'll look at it together. Willie made 60 sugar cookies, 80 chocolate, and 100 peanut butter cookies. Willie plans to make packages that contain an identical assortment. How many cookies are in every package? So we have 60 sugar. Oh yeah, I like that little. We'll work on getting that
We've
fixed.
got 60 sugar.
So maybe we'll have Molly, right?
And
So maybe, I guess you could put like 60S, so we know that there's sugar there. What was it? 80 chocolate and 100 peanut butter.
So what do we need to figure out about Willie?
So she's going to make packages that are going to have an identical assortment. So how many cookies are in all of the packages?
Okay, so how many cookies are in each package is what we're trying to find out. But we need to first find how many packages. Do you have a way that we can find out how many packages?
We have to find the greatest common factor, so we can divide the numbers all equally and find how many would go into each package. And then once we used up all the cookies,
Wait, let's freeze right there. Let's pause, and then let's do that. So talk to
Alright.
me about finding the greatest common factor. I've got 60, I've got 80, I've got 100. How do I find the greatest common factor?
So-
and the factor is two numbers that you multiply together to get that, right?
Yes.
So what's the process in finding the greatest common factor?
To find the greatest common factor,
You can write.
It would be easier to either list them out
Okay.
or list them out and see if that number would go into these numbers.
Okay. So do you want to list factors for 60?
Sure.
So 1 times what will give me 60?
1 times 60 will get 60.
So let's put 60 on this other end here. And then 2 times,
30.
okay. 3?
No.
Yes?
Yes.
3? What number can I multiply by
Oh.
3?
3.
And, okay. 4?
No.
Well, 4
Oh,
does.
20.
And there's a divisibility rule, but I won't go into that. So 4
Well,
times.
I say let's go there because
Okay.
I do believe that divisibility rules have been introduced in 6th grade.
Okay.
And a lot of times students go 3. No. Well, how do you know it's not? Right? They just think they've got this perception already. So the divisibility rule for 3 is if you add up the digits, and if that number is divisible by 3, then the whole number is. So 60, you take 6 and 0, you add them up, what do you get?
6.
6. Can 3 go into 6?
Yes.
Then you know 3 can go into 60.
Oh.
All right? And the same thing with 4. You take the last 2 digits of the number. There only are 2 digits here, right? So you think, all right, can 4 go into 60? And some kids go, no, right? Because I think because when they start learning multiplication tables, they go 40, 44, 48. Now 60 is not going to work. But if you just go a little bit further, it will. All right?
Yeah.
So 4 will go in there. Now you need to figure out how many times.
We can do this.
That is a great process.
15 times.
15 times. So let's write those factors.
Erase that.
Now you can just put them at the end if you want. You don't have to
Yeah.
squeeze them in there.
Yeah, put them after 60. So 4
Yeah,
and
okay.
15. What about 5?
Yes.
Okay. 5
Be
and
divisible by 12.
okay, 5 and 12. 6,
Yes.
6 and
10.
okay.
Probably just erase all that purple writing over there if you
Yes,
want
please,
to,
because
Molly.
you can't read it anyway.
No.
During the
Okay.
break, we'll fix that handwriting up
So we
there.
got 6 and 10. And then 7.
No.
Are you sure? Because 7 does not
Because, yeah, no.
What's the nearest factor for 7 that you can think of? Because 7 times what?
7 times 8 is 56.
Yeah, and then there's not enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8,
No.
no, because 7 times 8
Yeah.
is 56. And 9.
No.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. So then we have 10 already, and it's on the board, so there's no more factors.
Yeah.
Because we're already at 10. Okay, so then you said to me earlier, I'm going to take these factors and see if they can do what?
They can go into these two numbers.
Which factor would you like to choose? And why?
I want to go with 20 because I know for a fact that they can go. So I know for a fact 20 can go into these two.
Okay, so 80 is
so-
divisible by 20,
Yes.
and 100 is divisible by 20.
Yes.
And why wouldn't we choose? We're looking for the greatest common factor. Why
Yes.
wouldn't you choose a bigger number?
Because I'm not sure yet. I want to go with numbers that I already know, and so I can write those down and then figure out the higher numbers.
Okay.
So 30. 30 does not go into 80 because 8
And
is
if
not.
we go back to the divisibility rule.
Yeah,
Okay.
and 3 is not a factor of 10, so 30 cannot go into either of those.
And then the next number we have is
60.
60 as our greatest, and 60
Can't go into either.
right away
Of those.
because it's just too big.
Yeah.
Can't even make two groups.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So now we
So-
have our greatest common factor. What does that tell us? What does that greatest common factor tell us?
That means that there's going to be 20 of these cookies in each box.
That's going to be 20 packages of cookies.
Oh.
Not how many are in.
Oh,
That's how many
yeah.
packages we need. So
How So 20.
is how many packages we need. So we're
Yeah.
going to make 20 packages. So if I'm making 20 packages and I have 60 sugar, 80 chocolate, and 100 peanut butter, how do I find out how many are going to be in, how many peanut butter, how many sugar, how many chocolate in each?
Divide each of these numbers by 20.
Okay, let's go.
All right, so basically just do this. So it's 3.
Oh, you divided 2 by 6, but we need to divide, okay.
Yeah.
3,
and
yes. That was very good. You got me on that one. We
Yeah.
don't need that 0.
Yeah,
Just
no.
an
Take it off.
easier way to do it.
Yes,
quicker.
it is. In
All
case
right.
you don't know, we got rid of the 10s. Go.
And then
Good job, Molly. And so that 4 is for
Four.
how many cookies of what kind?
of chocolate,
Okay, now we need to find.
peanut butter. So
So 2, 4, and 3, 5 represent what? 3,
Yes.
4, and 5 represent.
how many cookies are going to be in each box? But
But,
we need to add the zeros back.
well, we don't have to add the zeros because 60 divided by 10 is 6, and 20 divided by 10 is 6. And so if you simplify, you can work in simplified numbers, which
Yeah.
you actually did. So there are 3 sugar cookies,
Yeah.
and then finish my thought.
3 sugar cookies, 4 chocolate cookies, and 5 peanut butter cookies in
In
each box.
package. And the question is, how many total cookies?
So 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. So 12 cookies in each package.
There you go. Nicely done. All right, Molly, out of all 3 of those, which one would you like the most?
Probably sugar cookie because I don't like peanut butter.
Oh, there you
And
go.
I prefer vanilla over chocolate, and sugar cookies closer to vanilla. So
Easily done. All right. I was going to say, I'll take the whole thing. I'll take all the assortment. I'll eat them all right there. So, you feel pretty good about that problem? All right. I've got a different type of problem for you right now. So go ahead and clear that board. You can hit that red X down on the bottom to get rid of the board, or you can erase. Go further down over to your left.
so
There you go. Oh, just use your
Just
pen
the-
to do it.
You can do,
Just use the eraser end and hit that red X again down at the bottom.
so
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So, have you ever gone shopping?
yeah,
Yeah. You like going shopping?
kind of.
Kind of. I think every kid loves to go shopping, right? Do you rather? Would you rather go shopping for lumber or food?
Food.
Food or clothing?
Probably still food.
Still food. Ooh, excellent. Right on my track right there. All right. Well, we're going to go shopping for pencils right now, okay? So here we go. I need you to put up some different prices and things for me, all right? So we can get a 6-pack for $4.15. So you can go 6 equals $4.15 if you want. $4.15. Underneath that, 12-pack will be $9.99. And a 32-pack will be $11.79. So I need to know which one of these is the best buy based on unit rate. Now, just glancing at it, do you think you can tell which one would be the best buy yet?
Yes,
Which one?
32 pack.
Why?
Because if you put 12 into 32, which is close enough, it would close enough. It would be more than $11.79. And if you put 6 into 32, so the closest would be 6 times 5. And so 415 times 5 is more than $11.79.
That's an excellent way to
That
look
was-
at it, to
yes.
kind of look at it quickly. Now prove it to me.
All right.
so what is unit rate? Just, you can work.
All right.
Do you know what unit rate is, Molly?
No.
Unit rate is how much is one pencil? One pencil is what we're looking for. So if I know 6 pencils are $4.15, I can find the price of one pencil I'm going to stop you for a second, divide. So
Good.
if I have 6 pencils in a pack and I pay $4.15, I want to find out how much 1 pencil is. So I'm going to divide $4.15 by 6. So let's divide, and then we're going to find 1.
So it'd be,
So which is
We're both
which
lost.
is our dividend and which is our divisor?
so divisor would probably be,
I'm going to go $4.15 divided by 6.
yeah.
There you go. So we can't make any groups with 4 from 6. I can make 6 groups there. Nice job. 41 minus 36. Great job.
Wait, yeah.
Yes.
So you're gonna add a 0.
So just
And we
go
can
to 3 places and we'll round it since
Yeah.
we're dealing
so
with
that
money.
we're dealing with, yes. So where does the decimal go in your quotient up there? So we can stop now.
Decimal would, so, wait, so,
If the decimal's in $4.15,
Mm,
where do you
wait.
put it in your answer, in your quotient?
right here.
Okay, so that 6 is above what number?
Over the 1.
It's over the 1.
Yeah.
And the decimal is where?
Before the 1.
Between?
Between the 4 and the 1.
Okay, so if I need to move my decimal straight up, where should it go?
Right here.
Yes, it goes straight up in division.
Straight up.
So that is the unit rate. What does the unit rate represent here? What does that number represent?
That number represents how much 1 pencil would cost.
How much 1 pencil? How much is 1 pencil? Because that's 3 decimals. How much would 1 pencil be?
1 pencil would be 69 cents.
Because we don't
If you
need to
round it.
round because the 1 is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to round to the nearest hundred. Well, when we round to the nearest hundredths, it's going to be 69 cents. Let's check out how much. What's the unit rate if I have a 12 pack of pencils?
Alright, so it'd be.
You got that much faster. Look at you go. Good job. And I'm going to see how many times 12 goes into 9. Does not. 99. 12 goes into 99 8 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, is it right? Or is it?
You're correct.
Yeah. I'm confused.
Oh, you're fine. And 12 goes into 39 how many times? And this is my unit rate of 1
Oh,
pencil.
No. That's wrong.
Thank you. It's my unit rate of 1 pencil. And a 12 pack, how much is 1 pencil?
12 pack, 1 pencil would be 83 cents.
83 cents. Okay. And let's go with, and we know that if we brought down the 0, it's going to be a smaller number, like 12 goes into 32 times. So let's see if your reverse logic was correct. 32 pack will be the best buy. What number are you thinking immediately? So Molly, if you
32
take the
times
first
3.
number, 3,
Yeah.
and then the first 2 digits, 11,
Yeah.
approximately how many times will 3 go into 11?
3.
3, so let's just try 3. Let's multiply 3 by 32, see where we get. We need to go higher or lower.
96. We have to stay there because 32 won't go in another time without passing.
Perfect. Oh, 21. Good job.
32.
And don't forget to
So-
put your 3 up there that you've already used.
Oh, yeah. So,
So before you even do the next part, where's your decimal going to go?
Right here.
Now, I need to ask you one question. Do you even need to figure out the next number?
No,
Why?
because it already starts with 3, and that's lower than the 2 starting numbers in the other equations.
So what's the best buy?
32 pack.
You think you could go through 32 pencils quickly?
No.
Well, it is the best buy, though. You may be able to hold on to them for a long time. Nicely done, young lady. And for your effort, you've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Grillenberger. So congratulations on that. That's right, yay. Anytime you get free food, that's what the old man says, too. I'm loving all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we do have another opportunity. We're going to go visit Scott out at the KCSOS Transportation Yard and see what's going on with those guys.
Hey, we're back with Math in the Real World, and I'm ready to take a trip. Good thing there's numbers going on here because this is a comfy place to be. We have some information to make sure we get out, and James is here to help us with a couple more of those questions that I have. This is not the bus that I grew up on.
No, it is not.
Things have changed. Tell us a little bit
Things
about the amenities that we have here, because this is a pretty comfortable seat here, you know?
It sure is.
Yeah.
So this is one of our field trip buses. Back in the days, buses had metal seat backs.
Right, I remember
And
that, yeah.
the seat backs were meant to prevent movement in the body in case of a crash. You would move forward. But as time progressed and more safety features were added, these seats became very padded and raised because seats were about half the way high. Now they're taller. So this is designed to look and feel like a charter style bus, but it is designed as a school bus.
Yeah.
So school bus on the outside, charter style on the inside. The amenities of reading lights, individual air vents, charging ports for the cell phones, and we know that those are the most important things to children these
That's
days.
important stuff. That
That's
will
right.
that will make or break a field trip right there.
That it sure does.
And so we have higher backs in the back, you know, so we have some neck support. And the other thing I just have to ask about, because I know, again, maybe I'm dating myself, but I was never on a school bus where there were seatbelts, and now that is essential, right?
It is, and it is a requirement for school bus manufacturers to install seatbelts in our school buses. School buses were still safe back in the day, even without the seatbelts, because students are encased in the seats, which are called compartmentalization. So if there was ever an impact, student isn't going to come out of their seat; they're just going to hit the modesty panel forward. But as time progressed, you know, seatbelts became a necessity, and we still are compartmentalized, as you see, as we're sitting in this. It's a box setting, but the seatbelt just gives that extra safety measure that
Right.
we need.
Right. And safety, of course, is number one priority. But I do have to ask, it seems to me that maybe some of your capacity per bus has gone down just a bit because you've had to have all these extra safety features, right?
Correct. And then especially with this style of a bus, we have reduced our seating capacity to give comfort to the passengers with 2 per seat. This bus in particular holds 48 passengers, but as you can see, these seat backs are pretty thick. So as they manufactured them and got thicker, less bench seating came available. So, but it just provides for a more safe ride and a more comfortable ride.
I was thinking the same thing. Comfort seems to have been a priority at some point, because this is pretty nice, man. We don't really have the TV screens, but it's pretty comfortable in here.
It is. And when we're doing field trips down to LA from Bakersfield, that's a long ways to go to be uncomfortable. So this is why we have these buses.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay, couple numbers here for you. I'm super curious. Maybe someone else is as well. How much does one of these things cost? Because there's a lot of features on this thing.
So these are just under $200,000 for this. But it's the way they're designed. These things can withhold an impact greater than any other vehicle out there. On top of the fuel alone, they're full. We can run about 12 miles per gallon on diesel, which is actually pretty good for a vehicle this size, this weight, and then the amount of passengers.
Sure.
So as well as drivability, these things are actually very comfortable to drive. They're very easy to maneuver. Specialized training, of course, comes with it. But,
Yeah, can you tell us just real briefly about that specialized training? What do drivers have to go through to make sure they're certified to be in charge of a vehicle like this?
Sure. So our school bus drivers go through a course that is 20 hours long in the classroom and a minimum of 20 hours behind the wheel, though most drivers get a little bit more than 20 hours of driving, but then they are tested through the highway patrol. And Officer Benuelos oversees those tests. So it's a written test, then there's a first aid test, then there's a drive test. But before that, they have to test at DMV with all the other tests involved. So it's a lot of testing, and it could take upwards to 3 months from one individual to start the process and end the process.
Right.
But
And we certainly appreciate what you do to make sure that those drivers are safe and are prepared and are trained correctly so that your students, all the students, are safe. Speaking of the Highway Patrol, we want to make sure that we get a chance to chat with those guys because there are some numbers there as well, and of course they have to deal with safety all the time. More Math in the Real World with the Highway Patrol when we come back, but right now I know we have some more problems to do back in the studio.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. And as always, more problems to do back in the studio. We've got Molly, a 6th grade student from Hart Elementary, and you've been doing some excellent work thus far, and I expect it to continue. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to need you to write some equations up on the board for me. 1 plus 3 equals, now what do you think is going to go at the end of that?
A letter.
11?
A
letter.
letter.
Oh, a letter.
A
Okay, I
letter.
thought you said 11. I was like, ooh, where are you getting 11 from? So you think a letter will go there. No, we're actually going to put a number there.
Oh,
What number do you think is going to go there?
4.
You're close. 34.
Okay.
That's right. I expect you to be confused, and that's exactly what I want. Another equation, you can go above it or below it, makes no difference. 5 plus 2 equals 57. The next one, 5 plus
27.
1. Oh, 27. Did I say 57?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, 5 plus 1 equals 16. 3 plus 5 equals 58.
Oh.
2 plus 4, and that's what I want you to find out, and I want you to explain how you're going about this. Every single thing that you're thinking of, I want you to discuss it with April.
So what I'm thinking right now is, look, the last number of each is the first number, and then the sum of the two numbers is the last number. So if I were going off of that, it would be 46.
That was quick.
Did you see that problem before?
No.
You're too quick. All right, you know what, Hot Shot? Erase the board. I got another one for you. 2 plus 3 equals 65. 3 plus 4 equals 127. 7 plus 3.
She's trying to figure
Yeah, I
it
know.
out.
That's
I
right.
think I already have it.
Equals what?
So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. And 7 plus 3 is 10.
There you go, Hot Shot. Nicely done. So those are some if-then problems. Just a little bit of logic that you will get into once you are in high school if you take a certain course, or if you plan to go on college later on. When you get into some different things, it's not difficult necessarily. It's just how are you able to see the patterns?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So you're able to recognize patterns pretty quickly right there.
Very quick.
All right. So I know that in your classroom, one of your things that you're working on is the stock market.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing with us one of the companies that you have stock in?
So right now we have Dell, I know for sure.
All right, so let's just go ahead and write Dell up there.
All right.
And do you know the ticker for that by chance?
I think it's just DELL.
Oh, well, then go ahead and just write that up there then.
Oh.
And how much is one share of Dell stock worth? Do you remember the last time you bought it or whatever, what it was worth, kind of?
No, I don't think so.
Is it like $4?
Like,
Was it 400?
No, it was like, I think around $120.
All right, let's make it $120.43.
Okay.
Oh, good. Thank you for putting that dollar sign there, because otherwise I was going to say we have a different thing going on here. And how many shares did you buy of that when you bought it? Do you remember?
At first, we bought 50.
All right, so let's put 50 shares underneath that. And if I wanted to know the total price, what would I have to do?
To know the total price, you'd have to multiply $123.43 by 50.
All right, let's go ahead and do that first.
So there's just 0. There.
All right, so how much does it cost for 50 shares of Dell?
$6,171.50.
Now, I'm sure that's not the final price.
No.
What else is included in that, do you know? Like what you would have to add on to that?
I think it's like, actually, I'm not sure.
Well, when you go to the store, you have to pay tax.
Yeah.
Right, so it's going to add something onto the total.
Yeah.
So the same thing when you purchase stocks, when you buy them or sell them, you have to pay a fee. All right, and let's say it's 3%. So if you have to pay 3% more, how are you going to figure that out? And if you need help, April's right there.
I probably do. I probably do. So
we're looking at 3%, right?
yeah. So
what are your first thoughts?
my first thoughts is multiplication.
Multiplication? Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you know about percentages? Percentages can be changed into
They can be changed into fractions and decimals.
and decimals. Okay. And so we can't multiply a percent as a percent. We have to change it into another form.
Yeah, no.
So
Wait.
how do what are we dealing with right now in our multiplication? We're dealing with
Money and decimals.
money and decimals. So let's change that percent into a decimal. So how do I
Alright.
change 3% into a decimal?
So I learned in class is
Percentage of
yes.
100. And as a decimal, that would be, okay. So let's take that decimal and let's multiply our 3% by $6,171.50.
Now, I'm going to move, Molly, this board down a little bit for you so that you have some more room. There you go.
Oh, it's 2.
Do that one more time, Molly.
Did I
3
mess
times
up?
6 one more time.
What?
3 times 6 one more time.
Oh, no, that's not.
All right. So that's a really big number, but we only want 3%.
Yeah.
And so if I have $6,171.50 and 3%, 3% is big or small?
It's big.
3%?
It's small.
How close is
but
3
when you
to
multiply
100?
it,
How close is 3 to 100? Is it close or
it's
is it really
not
far?
close.
Okay, so 100 is like $1.
Yeah.
And then 3% of that is more like 3 cents.
Yeah.
That looks like 3 cents, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty small. So if I'm talking about $6,000 and I want a small piece of that, where we place the decimal right now, read that number to me.
So it's $18,514.50.
So 3%, let's see, logically, does that make sense? If I'm taking 3% of $6,000,
No.
can it be $18,000?
No.
Okay, so what's more logical? What answer makes more sense?
So you're just going to have to move the decimal somewhere.
Move it 1. B.
So if you look at the two numbers that you're multiplying, how many digits or numbers are behind the decimal in the two numbers that you multiplied last?
5.
Count let me see you count them.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, behind the decimal, on the right side of the decimal.
4.
4. So if
4.
I have 4 numbers on
Yeah.
the right side of the decimal, I have to move the decimal
4 times.
4 places.
So it would be 1, 2, 3,
Start from
4.
the 0.
All right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're right here.
So now,
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you ladies hold on to that for just one moment. Leave everything on there, and we'll check out what happens to the rest of that problem right after this.
So what does NASA do to find out how a spacecraft will act before it's even built? Find out next on Real World.
NASA is designing a helicopter to actually fly on Mars.
The Mars helicopter is what's called a technology demonstrator. Its sole goal is to show we can actually do this mission. Can we fly a helicopter on Mars? JPL has the primary responsibility for the Mars 2020 rover and the Mars helicopter mission, and they branch out to expertise across all the NASA centers to bring that together so that we have a successful mission.
But Mars is different from Earth. So how do these engineers test their ideas without actually having to go to Mars? Well, the answer is math. Math is not just a set of symbols and numbers, it's the language of the universe. And it's also a way for us to take complex ideas and turn them into equations that are then solvable. To understand how this is done, we're going to talk to Dr. Brian Allen, who's doing mathematical modeling for the Mars helicopter. So you build models of the helicopter inside your computer with equations that will translate to an actual working helicopter on the planet Mars.
Right. So here I do computational simulations of helicopters and rotorcraft.
So is it much different, a helicopter on Mars than here on Earth?
There's a big difference. One of the key problems is this thin atmosphere. The density of the air is very low. So we want to look at the lift generated. And we want to make sure that the helicopter is generating enough lift in this thin atmosphere,
Right.
and is able to carry the payload that they're interested in carrying.
So when you build a simulation, there are certain quantities that have the ability to change, right? These variables. So what
Right.
are variables in your particular simulation?
So in the simulations, we look at the density of the air,
Right.
as well as we're solving the momentum, the velocity. So now we can take these equations, we can look at them, we can simulate them, and we can redesign. Whereas in the past, before like simulations, you would have to build it, test it, try it, okay, redesign it and build it, test it. So it'd be a lot longer without computational simulations.
And how is gravity on Mars compared?
Well, gravity is a little bit more than a third of Earth's gravity.
Okay, so I could dunk on Mars. That's what we're getting at.
We can get a much
Maybe.
higher jump.
You can jump a lot higher. Complex equations will help us see how the Mars helicopter will function when it flies on the red planet. But equations like these can't be solved using just pencil and paper. Researchers rely on state-of-the-art computers and specialized software to build mathematical models. And places like the new Katherine G. Johnson Computational Research Facility will give scientists and engineers the tools they need to develop future missions to the moon, to Mars, or wherever our imagination takes us.
And your imagination can take you many places, especially in the real world of NASA over there. All right, young lady, we saw that you finally came up with the fee for buying these stocks, and you had to move your decimal, but we still need to get a final answer for what this price is going to be for the fee, first of all.
is our fee reasonable? Like, is $185?
Yeah, considering the price of the stock.
Okay, so if we're talking about money,
Yeah.
money comes in, what decimal place? To
Money comes in
the nearest,
nearest the hundredth,
right? Okay, so we don't have to the nearest hundredth.
No.
So it's going to be $185 and how many cents? So we have to decide.
So 5 would make, if we're rounding, 5 would make the 4 go up, so it would be 15 cents.
Okay, so it's going to be $185.15. So that's the 3% fee we have to pay. And we're going to do what with that fee?
Add this to this.
Okay. So the
So-
cost of the stock plus the fee.
Oh, no. no.
So we're adding 6,171 to $50 to 185.15. Good catch there, lining up that decimal. And place value.
Oh, that's not. That's not 5.
No. Twice. Look at her.
Well, she's multiplying in her
I'm
head still.
multiplying.
Molly, why was that decimal easier to place than in
Because
division?
if I line it up, then it makes sense.
Okay. And for 50 shares of Dell stock with the fee,
It's $6,356.65.
There you go, nicely done. Erase the board. I've got another problem for you to work on. And this is one out of your book, and you'll be coming up to do these, but you said that you wanted to take a look at one of these.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and put it up there. 1/3 n, so right, 1/3, and then next to it put an n, equals 15. And April is here to help you with this one because this is something that's going to be new to you right now. All right, so ladies, take it away.
What do you
and
know
you've
about
got 2 minutes.
okay, what do you know about solving equations?
So right now, for integers, the normal, so in normal math, this would be addition, but with integers, it has to be, or with variables, has to be multiplication. So it would be 1/3 times n equals 15.
Okay, so if I know that 1/3 times n is 15, 1/3 times some number is 15, what do you think the number could be in relationship to 15? Does it have to be bigger or smaller than 15?
It has to be smaller.
It has to be smaller. If I'm taking 1/3 of a number, so I'm taking a number and I'm
Start
cutting
with
it
10. Let's say 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
I take 10 and cut it into 3 groups.
So,
How many will be in each group?
it'd be half, it'd be a number and a half, but.
Okay, so, but how many would be in each group? We'll have a remainder, that's okay. So if I have 10 and I put it in 3 groups, how many will be in each group?
3.
3, okay?
3.
So if I have 10 and
Yeah.
I put it into 3 groups, 3
Yeah.
is smaller.
Yes.
So if I have a number and I split it into 3 groups and I get 15, my number n has to be
Oh, larger.
larger. Yes, okay? So I'm looking for a large number, we're starting there. And you told me that's multiplication?
Yes, this is multiplication.
What?
So you've got 20 seconds left.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. So what we're going to do is, do you know what a reciprocal is?
No.
You don't know what a reciprocal is?
No.
Well, you know what?
But I have it.
We're going to work on that, all right? Set up the reciprocal right now, and we'll come back and we'll finish up that problem right now.
Okay.
Because we do have one more opportunity. We're going to go out and visit with Scott out at the KCSOS Transportation Yard.
Hey, we're back with a little math in the real world, talking about transportation today, specifically school transportation. And we could talk about transportation and buses without speaking with the California Highway Patrol. So today we have Officer Rodriguez, Officer Benuelos. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us a little bit of an overall idea about how the Highway Patrol is involved with school transportation?
The Highway Patrol is involved with school bus transportation in the aspect that we train. We don't train, but we test the drivers to make sure they're safe, make sure they know how to properly inspect their vehicles before they head out to their bus stops, and also safely drive those vehicles on our roads and make sure they're accident-free.
Right, so obviously safety is a huge deal, and you guys deal with safety all the time. Now, the ultimate question, of course, where do the numbers come in? Because we know math is everywhere. It has to be in part of safety and buses, right?
Most definitely. We use math on a daily basis, and so we definitely want to encourage kids to get excited about math because you will use it in the real world. For our job, whenever there is a crash that happens, we have to go out there and roll out the scene, roll out the skid marks, roll out the wherever the vehicles come to rest. And so we have to be able to diagram an accident scene so that we're able to talk about that later on if we have any court testimony.
Sure, totally. And you have to be able to almost recreate it, right, with those real specific numbers for court testimony, or just to figure out what the heck happened there, right? Correct. So that's on the bad side. What about the good side? What about the preventative measures? What are we doing here with numbers, with Highway Patrol, to make sure that transportation in schools is safe?
Part of the number thing is, which also part of our job is to see which aspects of the drivers are committing these accidents when they do happen, and how we can prevent those accidents from appearing.
Yeah.
Some of that entails with either further training, looking at the numbers, see where the accidents are occurring, maybe rerouting the buses to a different location so they won't go into that same location and it cause another accident.
Right. I have a question. I know somebody else out there has it as well. Why do buses open their doors at the railroad tracks? What's that all about? That's got to be a safety deal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The main reason the drivers open those doors for the railroad tracks is not only do you want to hear, but you also need to see if any trains are coming. If you look at most doors on buses, they have this. There's kind of almost two doors.
Yeah.
And they're kind of right in the middle is this big old gap. It's kind of hard to see with stuff right in the middle, but when it opens up, you can easily see, 200, 300 feet down the road on both sides.
Right. And we want to be able to have the best view possible for that safety part, right? Okay, now we were talking a little earlier off air, but now I want to know a little bit about you reward safe driving. Is that correct? Is that part of the deal? They get some certificates or something?
If the drivers can continually drive safely without causing any accidents, what we do is for every 100,000 miles, we present an award.
Oh, nice.
And for that continuous safety driving without accidents for these drivers.
Right.
And that's something that Highway Patrol, that's how we reward the drivers that continually encourage safety, practice safety, and good driving.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about if we're talking to students and they're on the bus, what can they do to be as safe as possible? Obviously, hopefully not distract the driver and throw things at them, whatever, but anything else they can do that's safe as far as your perspective?
Definitely be courteous to one another while you're on there. Try not to pick fights with other people, because that's definitely going to be a distraction for the driver, and we want everybody to be safe on the bus while they're traveling. If there's seat belts, please utilize those seat belts whenever you're in the bus as well.
Right. Guys, we are so grateful to take your time today to be able to speak with you about this stuff. We know that safety for students really is number one priority, both for the districts here in Kern County, but also for you guys on the highway. So thank you for your service. We want to make sure that you all know of our appreciation. So we're going to present you today with the famous Do the Math tile. No T-shirts or ball caps from Do the Math. You get a tile today. Put that in the common area, maybe back at headquarters, something like that. But we really appreciate your time. Always math to do in the real world, always numbers crunching no matter where you go. Very grateful to be out here and learned a ton about these school buses. Man, there's a whole lot going on here, but I know there's also some more math to do back in the studio. So we'll wrap it up from here. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. Also, thank you to James McClelland over at KCSOS, as well as those officers from California Highway Patrol. In studio, Molly, explain to me what you did to figure out that last part.
So what we did is we did vertical division.
So we took 1/3 times 10.
We took 1/3 times 10.
Or I'm sorry, 1/3 times n.
To n.
And then we had to
n. And then we wrote it like this. And so what this is, we turned it horizontally. And so when dividing fractions, you want to turn this to multiplication and flip it. So this would just be 15 times 3.
What's the word we use for the flip? Multiply by
the reciprocal.
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 There you go. And you came up with 45?
Yep, and we got 45.
Nicely done. Did you have fun today?
Yes.
That's the bottom line. And until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.